Hi everyone, this is Gunisha, and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I've read in 2025 so far. Oh my god. Well, the books just fell from my hand, so I'll be back. It's been almost 4 months into the year, and I thought that this is a great time to talk about everything that I've read so far and what I thought of it. So, first off, we have the Throne of the Glass series. This is actually my second read of these books. I read them for the first time somewhere around last year, but I was missing them, so I thought that I'll pick them up again. And I did not think that it was possible to love a book even more after reading it for the second time. The Throne of the Glass series by Sarah J. Maas is an adult fantasy read involving everything from kingdoms, wars, princesses, betrayal, revenge, romance, magic, love, and friendship. Basically, everything that I like in a good novel. These books are a long read, as you can see, but honestly, that is what I just love about a good fantasy read. I've actually been dying to talk about the Throne of the Glass series on my channel for a very long time, but the point is that I still haven't read the prequel to the whole series, which is The Assassin's Blade. I have it with me. This was actually written after some of the books in the series was written. So this is kind of everything that happened before whatever happened Throne of Glass onwards. And the point is that I have been trying to pick this book up for a very long time, but I just don't have the courage to go through the pain that I know this book is going to give me. If you have read the Throne of the Glass series, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't read, then I don't want to spoil it for you. But I'm very soon going to pick this book up, read it, and then talk about the entire series, have a proper discussion on my channel. Next up, we have two Frida McFadden books. Frida McFadden writes something and I don't read it. It's next to impossible. While I've not been her biggest fan always, I just love the insane capability that her writing has to draw me in completely and make me finish a book in a single day. And that's what happened with both of these books. However, both of these books won't go very high in my rating of all the Frida McFadden novels that I've read till now. And this is the amount, these two also, the amount that I've read of Frida McFadden's writing. So what happens is that my expectations from her are too high, and while these books were good, they weren't exactly what I expected from her writing and from her novels. First off, we have The Boyfriend, which is a book that has reaffirmed my belief of not wanting to get onto dating apps. Like, literally. This is a book about a woman in her mid 30s living in New York who has had just the worst luck with dating, like really bad encounters with men she has met through a dating app. But suddenly, she meets the perfect guy. Tall, handsome, mysterious, caring, loving, everything that you would want in a man, he has it. And they start off great, but soon, especially because it's a Frida McFadden novel, strange things start happening. And then suddenly, a woman is murdered. And turns out she's not the first one. There have been a string of them, and all are connected to a man who dates his victims before killing them. It's thrilling, it's suspenseful until you get the final twist, which kind of for me was not that great, but only because, as I said, I expect too much from Frida. But if you're someone who's new into reading, especially new into Frida's books, I think you're going to really like it. The second one is uh, I don't know how to describe this book. I'll just read the synopsis for you. Tegan is 8 months pregnant, alone, and desperately wants to put her crumbling life in the rearview mirror. So she hits the road, not realizing she's heading straight into a blizzard. Hours later, when Tegan is stranded in rural Maine with a dead car and a broken ankle, she worries she's made a terrible mistake. Then a miracle occurs. She's rescued by a couple who offers her a room in their warm cabin until the snow clears. But something isn't right. Staying here may have been her most deadly mistake yet. Now, this is not your typical Frida McFadden book. It does not have the typical mystery, suspense of it. It's more, I feel, about the characters and the relationships that they develop, which I have absolutely no problem with. The main point is that this book was a little difficult for me to sit through because of the pain that the protagonist has to go. It got a little too much for me. This is a story of motherhood and survival at its core, but in some places it gets too painful and too disturbing that I just could not read through some of the pages. I had to skip them. I have actually read a lot of dark and disturbing thrillers, but this was something that was almost painfully emotional for me to read and definitely not my cup of tea. Have you ever completely loved a book from start to finish, except for one aspect of the story, one part of the book, which was something that you just could not fathom or relate to? The Last Victim series are those books for me. I actually have only two of the four-part series with me right now. The fourth part is something that I still have to read. It's on my TBR. And the first part, I looked a lot for it, but I could not find it anywhere. And I was in a rush to make this video. So we're just going to have to do over the two parts for now. The series is the story of Dr. Charlotte Stone, also known as Charlie, who is a psychiatrist specializing in serial killers. As a child, Charlie witnessed a horrific murder by a notorious serial killer known as the Boardwalk Killer, who was never caught. Years later, Charlie is working at a prison, understanding the minds and hearts of serial killers, completely content with her life, when suddenly she's approached by three federal agents who want her help in tracking a new serial killer who has just emerged, but who follows the style exactly that of the Boardwalk Killer, which Charlie saw as a teenager. I love crime thrillers, and this was absolutely a treat to read. But there's also a second aspect to Charlie's story, a storyline that moves forward simultaneously, which is the fact that Charlie can apparently see dead people. Yes, she can see and talk to people who have suffered a violent death. Only for 7 to 10 days after they have died, until those dead people are transferred to a different realm, hell, heaven, whatever it is. But that is Charlie's little secret, that she can communicate with ghosts. Now, this is not the problem that I have with this series. I absolutely love stories, and I felt that this was a great plot point. I literally buy into anything that you want me to believe as a reader, until and unless it's written well, which it is. The problem here for me is that at the start of the book, very start, when Charlie is approached by these federal agents, before that, she is interviewing a convicted serial killer known as Michael Garland, who dies on the very same day a violent death. So, Charlie starts to communicate with him because she starts to see him. And slowly and steadily, they develop a connection slash romantic relationship, which was completely fine with me, which was more than fine with me because I absolutely love the way Michael Garland is written as a character. He's very, very charming. But for the first half of the book, I just cannot fathom and believe that she is developing this connection with a convicted serial killer when she has suffered such a traumatic past. Even without a traumatic past, how can you feel anything for the serial killer? That was something that was a little, no, not a little, very unbelievable for me. But as the second half of the book starts, you are given hints here and there that Michael was probably framed wrongly and he's not a serial killer. That is something we don't know for the first three parts because the story does not delve into that. I think the fourth part is for that. So it's just his word against the word of the law and the court. And that is why it was a plot point that kind of gave me the ick. And while as to characters and as to individuals, I absolutely loved both Charlie and Michael. They are very, very well written characters. But only if he wasn't a serial killer, convicted serial killer, things would have been a lot simpler for me. Nonetheless, I'm going to pick up the fourth part because I read the first three parts in almost a week. I loved the way the story was written. It's quite fast paced and quite thrilling. And if I just ignore this aspect of the story, I really, really like it. So it's a great crime thriller. Next up, we have The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. And this is the first book that I have judged by its cover. I only bought it for its cover. It's absolutely cute and gorgeous, but I also instantly regretted my decision. I should always rely on the synopsis and the reviews. When Jeannie's aunt gifts her the beloved Pumpkin Spice Cafe in the small town of Green Harbor, Jeannie jumps at the chance for a fresh start away from her very dull desk job. Logan is a local farmer who avoids Dream Harvest gossip at all costs. But Jeannie's arrival disrupts Logan's routine and he wants nothing to do with the irritatingly upbeat new girl except that he finds himself inexplicably drawn to her. Will Jeannie's happy go lucky attitude win over the grumpy but gorgeous Logan? Or has this city girl found the one person in town who won't fall for her charm or her pumpkin spice lattes? On one hand, this book is literally my fantasy in life, leaving my corporate job to settle down in a small town, running my own cafe, and then I find this gorgeous guy who falls in love with me and I fall in love with him. But the setting and the aesthetic of the book is where it ends for me. I read only half of this book and I left it, and I absolutely hate leaving books in between. So now you know how much this book bored me. There was absolutely no chemistry, no tension, no vibes, nothing working out in this book. It was a very slow and boring read, and it felt like literally someone had combined 100 Hollywood romance movies together, but in a way that will literally make you sleep. But I still haven't read the second half, so I'm still going to give it a little benefit of doubt. So if anyone has read this book and loved it, do let me know in the comments. I might pick it up again. Or no. I don't know. Lastly, we have Normal People by Sally Rooney. Oh my god. I don't think that I can express in words again what this book has done to me. This is not a thriller novel, and I finished it in one day. Some books are not literary pieces of art. They're not out there to inspire you or completely shatter you or instruct you in any way, but rather to touch your heart and make you pause and reflect on your life. This is what this book did to me. There were some points in the story where I felt like I wasn't reading about someone else's life. It felt like a reflection of my own experiences, and it felt like the author was talking directly to me. The story at its core is a coming of age love story about two people who meet in high school who are poles apart from each other, and they develop this on and off kind of relationship that goes through almost entirety of their adult lives, about how they navigate their ways into their respective lives and respective careers while also always finding their way back to each other. It is a very simple story but also has this great ability to make you feel a lot in very few words. I don't think that I've encountered such simple, stellar, almost painful writing which was so overwhelming that it felt like it changed something fundamental about me.